Okay, let's start the today's session. Today I'm gonna cover it, especially Hadoop architecture. So far we have already discussed, right? So today we are gonna cover it, read and write operations along with that yarn architecture. Okay, then MapReduce also it will be there. That will be covered on Monday along with the practicals once you guys have installed the software. Okay, if you are still facing any issues while installing the software and all, do let me know. But try to complete the installation over the weekend. Okay, so today is a Friday, right? So I am not gonna take the class on Saturday and Sunday as it's an initial stage. We will be get in touch with on Monday only after this class. Okay, now do you have any questions so far about this map? I mean, whatever the architecture which I have explained: secondary name node, data node, then how the replication factor, what is the high availability. Okay, if you are very clear, then we will proceed today. First let me proceed with the today class, then we will take a questions later. Okay, now I am going to explain about the write and read operations, how it is going to be happen within the HDFS file system. Okay, so for that we do have the first we will take it read operations. Okay, what is this one? This is write operation. Okay, let me explain about the write operation, how it is going to be happen within the Hadoop architecture. Okay, and meantime, just I want to explain about the cluster. I already told, right? Cluster is a combination of nodes, and we do have edge node. Okay, what is mean by edge node? Okay, what are all the operations which we are doing? Okay, edge node or client node or gateway node. Gateway.
Srini, I think you're not sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry,
Just
sorry,
read it is
sorry. I thought I shared. Okay,
The same
guys,
time,
come on.
please start the record.
Yeah, recording anyhow already started. Guys, can you please speak out? Okay. I thought I shared the screen. Okay. Okay. This is the one. Okay. This is the write operation which I am gonna explain today. Write, redo, and then an architecture. Before going this, so you need to understand what is edge node. The way how I have explained name node, okay, then data node, then secondary name nodes. These are the node types, right? In the within the cluster. Same way we do have the edge node. Edge node is also the node which is a part of your Hadoop cluster. Okay, edge node is not like a any kind of like a name node, data node, or secondary name node. It is also a kind of data node only, but edge node is nothing but the client node. Actually, client node is nothing but, see, this is the cluster, entire cluster. You don't have the access to enter in the all the nodes. Okay, if you want to access the cluster, okay, if you want to access the cluster, you need to have some communicator, right? Some communication is required. Through that only you can able to contact your cluster. Okay, that is nothing but edge node. That means edge node is also a part of the cluster, but through edge node you are gonna contact entire cluster. So if you want me to write a diagram, okay, like this. Okay, let me write a diagram. This is entire cluster. Just imagine this is entire cluster. Okay, in this, okay, what is this, man? In this entire cluster, okay, this is my master node. Okay, this is my data node. There are some other nodes also, it will be there. Okay, many nodes will be there in the cluster, right? Like this I am having the cluster. Just imagine this is my entire cluster and this is my name node. Okay, let me take a pencil. Okay, okay, like this we are having all the connections with your data nodes. All will be connected to your name node, right? Like this I am having my cluster. Okay, in this, okay, just don't go very specific to about these diagrams. Okay, while writing I may have different way. Okay, in this entire cluster, if I want to access as a user, I am a user. Okay, I want to access this cluster. Okay, I can't able to access directly name node. Okay, for this I need to have one computer, right? The way how we are gonna explain. Okay, this is my computer. Okay, with this I am gonna access. Okay, okay, don't go, I'm bad at drawing. Okay, through this computer, I'm gonna access this cluster. Okay, not this one actually. The cluster. This is okay. This is my computer. By using some IP address through the putty software, okay, they will give the edge node details. You are gonna access through your laptop to your gateway node. Let's say this is my gateway node. That means the IP address which has been given by the administrator, they will configure the edge nodes. Okay, they will give the edge node. Okay, edge node is nothing but the meaning edge is like a in the edge in the entire cluster, like edge or gateway. Actually, some node will be act as a gateway node. So what you are gonna do from your laptop through the putty software. Okay, I here through the putty or some other softwares, ACP protocol softwares. Okay, through putty you are gonna enter these details. This, what is this? This one, this edge node details. Then you are gonna have the access to your cluster. That means whatever you are gonna enter here in your laptop, that means whatever you are doing the operations, like a copy operation, read operation, whatever the code which you are doing and running, so it will communicate through the edge node to entire cluster. That is nothing but a edge node. Whenever you join any company, or I mean on the within the company, if you are allocated to the project, whenever it's about to start, immediately first people will give the cluster access to you. That is nothing but through the edge node. That means they will give the edge node details to you. That means if you are doing in a development environment, there is a development edge node. And if you are in a support, and if you are fixing some incidents or anything directly in the production, they will give the production edge node details. That is nothing but IP address only. Then the required software also will be given to you. Through that you are gonna access your entire cluster. That is nothing but edge node. Okay, in the edge node only, I mean through putty software, once you log into the edge node, operations will be started there only. That whatever script, IOScript, Unix, Spark, whatever Spark submit, whatever the jobs you are gonna submit, it will go through the edge node to your cluster. Okay, clear? So edge node is nothing but a client node, gateway node. Okay, that is like a communicator. Okay, communication to communicate from user to the cluster. Okay, clear, right? Now we will go with the write operation. Okay, let's say I am having one input file. Okay, let me erase this. 1 second, guys. I am having one input file name called, just I am erasing again this one just to use same. Okay, I am having a input file. Okay, 1 second. My input file is input.txt. Okay, this is my input file. Okay, I want to write this input file, okay, into my cluster. Okay, that means in my HDFS file system. Okay, as I said, HDFS is a Hadoop distributed file system. Replication, everything will come into picture. Okay, we'll just park aside that concept now. What I am doing is I want to write my this input file to my Hadoop cluster. What I will do, as I am already having my edge node details, I will log in through the putty software. I will log into the cluster through my edge node. That means I will open my edge node. There in the edge node, I'm gonna open my terminal. What is mean by terminal there? That is a console. Okay, Unix console terminal, what you mean to say. Okay, there I have to write, right? I have to write my file. That means whatever the file we are having it, that is in my local. And one more concept I need to explain: local file system and HDFS. Okay, LFS and HDFS. What is mean by local file system? Local file system. Okay, then Hadoop distributed file system. Okay, in the Hadoop environment, while communicating to the HDFS through local file system only, we are gonna communicate. That means the terminal in the edge node, whatever you are opening, that is in a local file system, nothing but Linux or Unix. Okay, Linux or Unix environment. Through window also we can able to communicate. Okay, but the most favorable format is like a through the Linux only, like I mean, even in the real time environment also, due to security everything and all, okay, this Hadoop kind of environment we are gonna communicate through the Linux operating system only. Okay, that is one of the security layer. Okay, whenever you have given the access to the putty, okay, once you logged into through the putty, you will directly go to the edge node details. In the edge node you are gonna open the that Linux terminal will be opened directly. Okay, in the Linux terminal whatever the files are there, that is local. That means in the Linux environment whatever the files which you are going to have, it is a local. That means in the real time project they are gonna place it in the servers, right? The input file, suppose some kind of Java front end, it is generating some kind of text file. Let's just imagine that is nothing but input.txt file. It will reach to your edge node. Okay, from there you have to copy to your Hadoop environment. How you are gonna copy? By using some copy commands. In this case we are gonna use copy from local. That is the command copy, and this is like a case sensitive. Copy, what is this? Copy, F is a capital, from low. I will explain these commands how to execute also. Copy from local, and the syntax is Hadoop fs copy. I will tell you exact syntaxes and all. Okay, copy from local, then you have to mention your HDFS directory here. HDFS directory, I mean LFS directory as well as HDFS directory. Okay, what it will do, it will take the copy, I mean it will take the input file from your local file system and it is gonna place into your Hadoop file system. Just don't worry about these syntaxes and all. We will explain very clearly from the upcoming classes. Okay, as of now what I am doing is just I would like to copy the file from my local file system to HDFS file system. How the operation will be happen, see here in the diagram. See the first diagram, in this, okay, all this one, okay, this is from your edge node. Whenever you have the JVM client JVM also, it will be run in your one of the edge node, right? Once you got the access in the edge node, you are gonna execute this copy from local command. At the time what it will happen, this HDFS client is nothing but the process. The way how we are having a normal CPU process will be running in my laptop, right? The same way in a HDFS, the distributed file system, there is a client will be existed. Don't confuse with the edge node client and the normal client. Okay, each and every mission there is a process available. That process is nothing but client JVM. This only we are calling as a HDFS client. Okay, that means through the terminal you are gonna give the command to your Hadoop cluster, right? By copy from local whatever through the terminal. At the time this HDFS client, okay, it will open the file system. Okay, it will first reach to the file system, first step. Okay, that means whenever you have enter the enter command, that is once you have done the command, once you click the enter, first it will go to the open mode to the distributed file system, saying about that based upon your command here copy from local, right? Okay, my client means user is requesting me to write his input file to my Hadoop file system. Okay, then first it will contact the distributed file system. That file system it will contact. What file system will do? File system will create a write request internally. It will create write request. Okay, create the write request and it will go to the name node. Why it is going to the name node? Name node is only the responsible to do everything within the cluster, right? If you remember my previous classes, name node is the one is responsible to maintain the metadata. Okay, what it will do? So name node, it will give the first it will create the write request and it will check the all permissions. Okay, all permissions related to access, whether the particular user is having right access or not, whether he is logged in by using proper authentication check, everything will be done by the name node. Okay, once it is done, authentication check whether he is having permissions and all, everything is done, then name node will give the yes. yes, you are having access, okay, and it will give the metadata information. What is that metadata information? Okay, your input file is having this much size. You are having, let's say, 3 blocks of information. Okay, I am having these data nodes are available. Okay, go and write into those data nodes by taking a replication also in mind. It will give, let's say, our input file is having 3 blocks. Okay, it will give 9 blocks information. Okay, by taking rack awareness algorithm, okay, and data locality concept. That means whatever is near to the name node, it will give the data node details. Go to the particular data nodes and write your data. Then this HDFS client, the acknowledgement will get back to the client, okay, with the create request. What create request? It will contain metadata information. That means where to write, I mean, where to write means in which, within which data nodes I'm gonna write the data. Those details name node will be given. Then HDFS client, it will come to the write operation with the write request. This is the third one. Okay, to the FS data output stream. This is nothing but file system related concept. Okay, file system data output stream is nothing but whatever I am having my data. Let's say this is my, one second, I will take another this thing. This is my data file. Okay, this is my data file which is having the data. Okay, like this I am having data. Okay, 500 MB I can say, and in this it has already been splitted or sliced based upon the block size. Everything will be considered. Let's say I am having, these are the blocks. Okay, let me take the colors. Okay, yeah, see, up to here one block, up to here another block. Let's imagine, okay, 3 blocks I am having. What this data output system is, it will be, first it will be in a queued manner. That means entire input file, it will come to the output stream. Okay, and it will be in a queued manner. What it will do, first, see, that is third, it is done, right? Fourth one is this one. See here, fourth one, a write packet. What it will do, in the block information, I am having a block, right? My input file is having 3 blocks. Okay, in these 3 blocks, what it will happen? Okay, let's imagine this is my one block. Okay, this is my block 1. Let's say it is block 1 having 128 MB of data, 120 MB of data. Okay, this 120 MB of data, it will be, first it will be queued in output stream. Okay, then packets, in terms of packets, see, this 128 MB of data, it will be further divided into packets. Okay, packets is nothing but, let's say, in terms of KBs. First it will flow to the particular data node. See here, pipelines of data node is like this. Let's imagine name node has been given the data node information, data node 1, data node 3, data node 5. Just imagine data node 3, this is my data node 3, data node 3. Okay, second, this is my data node 3, this is my data node 5, this is my data node 7. These are my block information which has been given by the name node. Then HDFS client has to write his data inside these data nodes. How internally it will happen? First it will contact the distributed file system, then it will go to the FS output stream. That FS output stream, okay, once it is decided, the data in terms of blocks, it will create a packets. Packets is nothing but again some other low level. Okay, that packets will come to the data node 3 first, and it will write the data by the client. That is nothing but JVM. Okay, here also we are having JVM. Okay, it will write the data first here, then it will go to the next data node. As I said, within the system, right, first copy only it will take time. Later on it will replicate to here, then it will replicate to here. That 3 replication factor I mean to say. Okay, by using those things, once it has been written internally, these data nodes also communicated through the acknowledging. See here, acknowledgement packet also it is there in the 5th. Once this is done, the acknowledgement packet will come to here, then it will go to the output system. Then the second packet will process. That means in the sequentially, let's say I am having 100 lines of data. first line which will be written. The first line is called as a packet. Then second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, like that. The entire input output, the entire input, it will go and it will write into the your HDFS file system. Once everything is done, okay, it will close the this create request. This has been already created, right? This create request, it will be closed by the HDFS client and it will communicate again to your name node. Why it has to communicate to the name node again? Saying about that, boss, I have done my write request. Whatever the create request you have done with the metadata information, it is been completed. Please save it in your FS image file. Okay. And before giving the right create request itself, this name node will check whether the input file name whether it is been already exist or not. If it is not exist, then only this create request will go to the HDFS client. Otherwise it will throw the error saying that already input available, that input file name is available, like that. Okay, so once this close request it is been done here, that write request, HDFS will client will communicate to the name node will save the metadata inside his file system. That means nothing but FS image. That means entire write request has been completed. Then once the write is done, okay, all these things, this whatever this acknowledgement, everything will be communicated through the heartbeat only. Heartbeat is only the one communicator, okay, between name node, data node, or HDFS client, everything. Okay, here this is my name node, these are my data nodes. You can imagine this is my edge node concept. In the edge node, in the JVM process it is happening, okay, but this is just like a communicator only. This HDFS client, distributed file system, everything will be applicable for entire data nodes, right? In the data nodes we are saving, right? We are saving the data, okay, in terms of file system, okay, in terms of blocks, okay. This is how write operation will happen. And the first replica, once it is written in the first one, the second one will not take much time, okay. As I said, that copy concept, okay, from local to your suppose from CD to your laptop, once you drive from C drive to D drive, it will not take much time, right? That is how write operation will happen. And this will be happen parallelly. That means I am having 9 blocks information, right? This is just for one, I explained very in detail. Meantime, what it will happen, so many clients will be communicated and parallel processing will be happen through the JVM process. That means at a time write operation will happen parallelly by contacting the resource managers. What is the resource manager here? Job tracker and task tracker. This is about Hadoop 1.x and 2.x operation. Once yarn architecture come into picture, that is different story, I will tell you. Okay, this is about write operation. Any doubts? I will just give a pause here.
So Srini,
Yes,
so yeah, go ahead.
One by one.
Yes, Rini. Manoj this side.
Yeah, Manoj.
Rini, first question is what is the role of like job tracker and task tracker for write process?
Yes.
And second is if we have large file, multiple lines,
Yeah.
and if it is writing sequentially, then it will take more time, right? One by one, it is means one line put into the DN3, second line put into DN5 some blocks. So it will obviously take more time.
Okay. Done with your question?
Yeah.
Okay. See, job tracker and task tracker. Task tracker will have within the data node. Job tracker will have through the name node. Name node will contain the job tracker. See, this job tracker and task tracker, that is what actually job tracker will be responsible to collect entire task tracker output details. Okay. See, within the job we have the tasks, right? That means name node is going to be controlled by the job tracker. Okay, job tracker will collect all task tracker information. That means within the data node, each and every data node, there is a task tracker. What it will do, suppose if I request a write request, once it has write that write has to be performed by the task tracker within the data node 3. The first block has to be copied here. That operation will be done by the task tracker, which is available in a data node 3. Same way, data node 5, data node 7. Okay, all this information, once it is been done here, that will be collected by the job tracker, and job tracker will return the results to your name node. Name node will send signal back to your client. Client will display the your message, whether it has been completed or failed or something else. Okay, that is the role of job tracker and task tracker here. But in a now we are using yarn. Over the job tracker and task tracker, there are other managers will come: resource manager, name manager, application master, and all. That will be the next class. I mean, in this class only I'm gonna cover that part. As of now, just imagine, just job tracker is going to be responsible by name node. Task trackers will be run inside the data node. That is your first question answer. The second question, the sequential is just I have explained to understand the concept. Okay, the sequential, the first line, second line, and all. But in the real time, the process will be happen. See, there are multiple data nodes, there are multiple task trackers will be involved, right? Not only the one. What I said is inside the file system, the process will happen like that. That means for one data block, if you take it, one block size in 128 MB, the data will be processed and written in terms of packets. Okay, the packet processing also within the file system. That means within the distributed file system, the packets also distributed and parallel processing will be happen. Not a sequential, but just to understand your, I mean, to give some kind of understanding, I have said first line, second line, third line, like that. It's not like that way in the real time. What it will happen, the packets, let's say 100 packets I'm having, 100 packets within the data node, parallelly processing it will happen. Everything it will be poured. Let's say if you have a water bottle, you want to drink the water directly, not from the water bottle. You want to pour into your glass. From the glass you would like to drink the water. While pouring, how you are gonna pour? Entire water you can't able to pour directly into your glass, right? It is like a kind of sequential only, right? That way that you can't able to observe that process, right? Just you are gonna pour into your glass. Same way, the block information in terms of pockets, it's gonna write into your block system. That means in your block, the data will be written sequentially, but within a fraction of seconds. You got it, right?
Okay, yeah. And Srini, for example, like 50, see, we have a large file and 50% data already written, but in between, because of some network issue or something, system had crashed. And one system is up, how it will work
See,
for the same file?
yes, while writing, okay, if you are having any issue or anything, okay, unless this performance, this 7 task complete one, which received by the HDFS client, okay, then only we can say that the write operation completed. Okay, in between, let's say in the 6th or 5th process, if it is getting crashed, then you have to process. That means there is no partial concept also will not be available. Okay, the entire data will be saved unless the 7 complete, then only the save operation will be happened. Okay, otherwise the entire data will be erased. Okay, see, the thing is, if you don't have metadata with name node, that doesn't mean that you don't have data in your data nodes. The metadata information will be stored once you get the signal from HDFS client at the last step, 7th. Once it close the write operation, okay, first it will create. See here, first to open, then it will create, then it will close, then it will complete. In this process, if any in between, if something is happened, okay, then name node will not have that metadata information. If name node is not having that input related metadata information, then you are not gonna access, though it has been saved in the partially or some portion might have been saved in these data nodes, but you are not gonna access again. That means once if you like to read the data, once you store the data into HDFS, again definitely you are going to read the data, right? At that time, if name node doesn't have the metadata information, it will say that we don't have file, saying input file not exist. That information will be given to you. That means it will throw the error. But the partial data may exist here, but in terms of interval, the cleanup process will be happen. The heartbeat signal, everything and all cleanup process and re-replication also will be happened by the name node every regular intervals. I think every 2 hours or 3 hours, administrator will give the instruction. Those kind of data will be erased automatically from the data nodes. Whatever the name node will have the metadata, right? Those block information only always available in the data nodes. Okay, if something happen in between while writing, if it is not completed, those data will be erased automatically. That means you need to perform again your copy operation. Otherwise, you will not get your data. That is what we are doing this copy operations, right? Copy, put, get commands and all. I will tell you Monday. I will execute the file system. This is about write operation. Okay. Clear, Manos?
Yeah,
Any
sure.
questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, Anjal, something you are asking.
Yeah. So when you say like, see, to perform any kind of activity, we cannot direct to contact a cluster, right? You
Yes.
said like we have to connect to the
Edge node.
edge client. I
Yes.
mean edge
Edge
node. I think yeah, whatever IP is assigned to that edge node, you'll just always like connect to that. From there, you'll write. I mean, execute all these commands, right? Whatever commands you have to
Yes.
perform.
Exactly.
But we cannot directly contact cluster directly. But anyway, whatever we have to do it through edge node only.
Exactly. We don't have access to access name node directly. Okay, just you can able to see one through the edge node only.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You just strict about either edge node. Edge node is the term we are using in the real time environment, but there are other names, gateway node or client node. Most of the people, 95% we are gonna use the edge node. Whenever you assign the project, immediately they will give the edge node details only to you. Or you also speak about where is my edge node details. So just I would like to check the connection activities and all. You supposed to ask where is my edge node details. Okay.
Okay.
They will feel that okay, this guy is a real time guy. Okay, he knows the process.
And one more thing from a diagram perspective, like the communication between edge node and the name node, it should be bidirectional, right? It shouldn't be like a one-way communication, right?
It's a bidirectional. This arrow I have not written. It's a bidirectional through the heartbeat every 3 seconds.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Okay.
It's a bidirectional.
Okay. Srini, thank you.
Any further questions on write operation? Sir, I doubt HDFS client must have more storage than the. Let me read it out. Money is having question. The HDFS client must have more storage than the data node, right? Suppose we have 10 data nodes and each node has 50 terabytes and our file size is 100 TB. Upon splitting, the file is stored as a 10 TB in each node. See, the thing is, money, based upon your cluster size only, you are gonna store the data. Okay, and while writing your input file, suppose let's say if your cluster is not sufficient for that, definitely you will get the error, storage space issue, something else. And that is what we are having this name node. Whenever you are sending any write request, this name node will check what is the size of the file, how to allocate, and whether I can able to accommodate that space within the cluster or not. All those things it will check before sending the write request to client. Okay, if it is not sufficient, the space is not available. Okay, let's say your input file is very huge and it is not going to accommodate that space within the cluster, then it will throw the error and the administrator will get the alert. If required, based upon some kind of hierarchy has to be followed, that scale up will be happen based upon your data size. And the other question what you ask is HDFS client must have more storage. See, HDFS client need not to have any storage, more storage. Okay, HDFS client is nothing but one of the data node only, that edge node. Okay, storage has to be there within the cluster. it's supposed to have only the memory, right? Just to process your request. It is not gonna write the data within the client. It is gonna write the data within the cluster based upon metadata information which is given by the name node. Here itself, if it is your data is not sufficient, if your data is not going to be accommodated within the cluster based upon the space issue, name node itself it will reject your write request and write will not perform. See guys, this HDFS client is just like a communicator. It's not gonna store anything here. The client will communicate to the output stream system, that is nothing but Hadoop file system. Then it will write in the data nodes which has been given by the name node. Okay. And there is a possibility, there is a issue here in the name nodes concept. Okay. Hadoop is intended to process only the bigger size of files, right? At least equal or greater than block size. Suppose if I am having less files, can't we process? Let's say I'm having input files, very small input files, many number of small files. Can we process or not? If so, what is the problem? Okay, just park aside that question. Okay, we'll discuss later that part. Okay, clear, right? This concept, a write operation. If you are clear, then we will go for read operation. Any more doubts? Okay, hope it got clear.
Sorry.
Yeah, please.
Srini, what are the practical challenges you face in write operation?
See, write operation, the particular challenges are not much actually. Whenever you do, see, we are communicating through Linux system, right? So right, in the Unix and Linux, how copy will operate? Immediately, right? Within fraction of seconds, based upon your data size, it is gonna give the control back to you. The same concept, write operation, until unless there is a network issue while writing the data, very huge size, and if you face the network issue, those kind of issues only we are gonna face it. Okay, and due to replication factor, if your data is not accommodated, okay, let's say name node while giving the write request, let's say this data node 7 is active. Okay, once it goes to back to write request, that time if it is getting down, okay, that means name node has given data node 7 is active, and we supposed to write the data into data node 7. Okay, but while writing in the fraction of seconds, if it is getting down due to network issue or something else, but this two is available, okay, that time what it will happen, it will write only these two data nodes, and this data node is not accessible, right? The third copy will not be written here, but no issue. It will give the alert to the administrator. Administrator will get to know about this data node 7 is not available. And under replication, there is a concept of under replication. That means instead of 3 copies, we are having only 2 copies. That under replication concept I will cover later. Once it is in under replication, administrators will restart the cluster. That time, whenever you restarted as a fresh, based upon your configuration, okay, it will, the replication also will be affected. It will see whether the replication is available as a 3 or not. If it is not, then the third copy will be written in the available data nodes again. The return operation will be happened again. That is what Hadoop cluster, whenever you go to the restart, right, it will take time. At least 30 to 40 minutes based upon your configuration, the operation will take time. That's what people will not go for restart or restarting about the cluster. Always they will go for the scale up. Something let's say here it is happened. Okay, this data node is completely crashed. What they will do, they will scale up, horizontal scale up here. Okay, they will add one more system or one more server to this, and they will add up here, and they will some kind of execution of some commands, administrator commands. Then whatever the data which has been available here, that will be replicated to this data node. That is administrator task. As a developer, just we need to understand all these read and write operations. We are not gonna do anything much here. Why? Because our task is to execute the commands. Just an input file will come, we are gonna execute the command, and it will copy into the into your Hadoop cluster. Once it has been copied, just we will verify whether the data is copied completely or not. But you are not gonna view entire file, right? Usually we are gonna check the record counts, everything and all that we will do it. and we will check the replication whether it is available or not. That also through the commands only. As a developer, okay, if something while writing itself if you are getting error, definitely the log will be generated. You will get to know based upon the log information. Okay. See,
Okay.
while
So
writing,
Srini, yeah, Srini, last question
yeah,
from my side.
yes, yes.
So the similar issue like uh, fraction of times data node is not available. But is it possible like we have only uh, single data node and we need to create replication because of some size like other data node already filled and only one data node available and and most of the blocks also been filled because of size and we have only one block, so is it possible we can create multiple files in the same block?
No, no, right? Replication will be available on, that is what I have a rule. One rule is there, right? Replication is interrelated to the number of data nodes. Okay, if you are having only one node active, okay, that is what in your real time this is not the situation. But in the training, even the Cloudera, once you install, right, we don't have many missions. We have only one mission which is acting as a name node as well as a data node. That is what in the training period, if I run any job and all, I can't able to show the replication. Okay, replication will be available only in the multiple data nodes, not on the single data node. Or in the single name node, single data node will act as a same thing. See, in the real time it will happen, but in the training it is not going to happen. But the question whatever you asked is, that is hypothetical situation. Okay, replication factor, if it is available, first of all, while writing itself, name node will give the access. The first here itself it will stop. Okay, let's imagine it is paused here and it comes to here. What it will happen, you are having only one data node, only one block information, but your input file is having 3 blocks of information to write into your data. But at the time what it will happen, it will write only the available data node, whatever it is there, first one, then it will throw the error saying about that insufficient space. Error will be thrown.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Srini.
Yes, Maz. Okay, hope it got clear. Okay, we'll move to read operation. This is again another one. Okay, this is again the same concept, or read operation. Okay, first, from the HDFS client, you have to provide your input file name through the client what you want to read. That is nothing but through the get command, by using get or read from local, or see that commands I will tell you, don't confuse with the commands. Okay, that is intended for other class. Okay, let's say read. You are already written that your input file system. I mean, you are already written your input file into your Hadoop file system. Now you would like to retrieve the data from the HDFS. That means you are processing something. What you are gonna do, you are gonna read by using your edge node. You have logged in, you are giving the command HDFS or Hadoop FS. Okay, get is the one which we are gonna read. Okay, get, then you are just reading our cat command, simple cat only, right? Or how you are gonna read the commands in Unix? Cat, right? See, Unix and Hadoop read and write commands are very similar. Okay, just it will come some suffix, extra prefix, I mean to say. Okay, that I will tell you. Okay, just you are gonna read by using the cat command. Okay, at the time what it will happen, first it will open the open request. It will go to the distributed file system. Distributed file system will contact to the name node saying about that, boss, my client is requesting to get the some data about so and so input file. First it will check all the authentication, whether this user is having the read access or not. Okay, there is some kind of restrictions will be available, right, for sensitive data and all. Based upon that, name node will check the user authentication, whether he is a valid user or not. Okay, if it is a valid user, okay, whether he is having read access or not. Okay, read access is done. Then it will give the, based upon input file name, okay, this input file name where I already stored my data, then it will give the block information. See, get the block information. Second one, once it got the block information, okay, here from here we are going to get the block information. Then this will give the acknowledgement to the HDFS client. Okay, these are the block information I am having for your input file. What it will go, it will clear the read request. It will go to again this input stream. See here, stream names, it has been changed from there to here. Here, what it is there? Output stream. That means you are writing into output. But here you are getting the input. That is what the file system concept is. Don't go much about this file system concept. You will get confused. Okay, inside file system, it is gonna happen like this. Input stream here, output stream. See here clearly, fs data input stream, in fs data output stream, input output. Okay, that is IO operations. Don't go much detail about that. As a developer, need not to know all those things. Okay, just to know the things. Okay, input stream, it will contact what it will do based upon your block information. Let's say I am having b1, b2, b3. Okay, these are my block information in data node 1, data node 2, data node 3. Let's imagine first it will go to the data node 1, data node 2, data node 3. Okay, all your information in these data nodes I am having. Okay, based upon my replication, these 3 blocks, which will have 9 blocks, parallel processing will be happened. That means from one block it will run, second block it will run from here, third block it will run from here. Everything it will be processed parallelly. How many job tracker or task trackers are available, it will run process and it will give back to your client. Then client will close the request. Okay, here there is no return request. See here, there is no return, right? There is no complete. Why? Because it is just a read, right? Name node doesn't care whether you have written or whether you have read or not, doesn't matter, right? No need to save here whether the read request is happen or not. Okay, but write request, it's very compulsory. That return has came here back to complete. See here, that complete statement, it has to come back, and name node will have to save the metadata information. But in the read process, it's not required. Just once it is done, client itself, it will close that read request. The input, I mean whatever the output which we got, it will show in the terminal. Okay, but here in this process, okay, let me draw a diagram. In this process, especially in this one, okay, in this data node, while processing all these arrows, right, it will happen in a parallel processing, the read request. There are task trackers will be available. All task tracker will execute at a time. It will get the data in parallel by using the replication factor. Also, it will start reading the data and it will give very fast to your client. Once the client got all the data, client itself, it will close the close request. I mean read request will be closed and the data will be shown to your terminal. This is how read operation will happen. Suppose there is a access restrictions will be taken care by here. If you don't have the read access everything and all, it will check it and it will throw the error, user permission denied. All those stuff will be taken care by the name node. Read is very simple. By using cat command, Hadoop fs cat, then you have to mention your input directory name, wherever the directory it is having, the file name you have to mention, so that the entire content will be shown to you. But inside it will happen like this. First it will contact name node. From the name node it will get the block information. That block information will go to the data input stream. In the data input stream, it will have the processing in a parallel manner. Then it will get the data. This is about read operation.
So Srini, I have one question, like I forgot to ask earlier.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how does the authenticate happens? Like, I mean, is there a
Other means
is there a file? No, authentication. How does it happen, right? When somebody is trying to access, right?
name node
From a
will have the name node will maintain all these privilege concepts. Okay, there is a files, XML files will be there. There are some properties. Okay, the way how authentication will happen means there is a inbuilt software will be there in the Hadoop cluster. Okay, Linux authentication, then Hadoop administrator will give the authentication at the group levels actually. Same way in the Linux, how we are gonna give the user, group and others, right? The file concept, files is same authentication like 777, 755, 5555, all those concepts. User, other, group, right? While writing itself, based upon that only the file will be written into the Hadoop file system. Same concept in the Unix we are having, right? That's what I asked. Unix concepts also it's required to understand the concept. Okay, let's say in the Unix, whenever you open the file, you will see that directory information like this d small d small. What are the commands? Read, write, x, like this you are gonna see, right? Then like this the file information x like this. That is nothing but this file is a directory. First read, write and execute. This is for group, then this is for user. First 3 will be user, then 3 will be for group, then last will be others. Like that the commands will be executed in the Unix, right? Same manner the authentication will be checked in the name node by using these concepts only.
So it will just look at the user level.
Yes, user level.
User level. Just
yes. First
okay.
we will go to here. There itself ls command will be executed internally by a name node. It will check whether this user is which user, whether is a group user, okay, or is a normal user or other user. If it is other user, whether he is having a read access or not. If it is having read access, it will give you the file name information. Otherwise, it will reject. The same concept Unix how you are gonna have it. Same concept will be used also here.
Okay. No, I got it.
Yeah. Based upon the file.
I was just thinking like, yeah, generally in somewhere like we will be having one authentication system, so it will always look at whether this particular user have an access to this particular file system. I mean, not file system, that authentication to that server. That is how it goes, right? I've just
that is server level. But here, this read and write operations we are having it in a file system level, right? File level.
Okay.
If you are if your user is not having access for this client, I mean this cluster itself, while logging to the edge node, there itself you will get the error, right?
That is true. Yeah.
Once you have that access, then only you will come to the file system. In the file system also, you are not supposed to access other teams' files. You need to have only access for your files which has been created by you or created by your team, right?
Okay,
that kind of user setups while giving your username, that means nothing but once you enter into the team, whether you are if you are a developer, you may not have access the production utilities, right? As a development user, you may have only some up to some level accesses, just only read access you may have in production also, but not the write operation. Same way the user level, while giving your username, okay, once you enter into the along with your edge node details, you may need your user ID and password also, right? While creating that user ID itself, administrator will take care about that, which kind of user he is, whether he is a developer, whether which file system you need to have it. See, there also in the project level, there are some sensitive files, there are some normal files, there is some security levels also there, na restricted files, unrestricted, everyone can view all those stuff. Administrator will have those things, and it will applicable for your group also. Like your group, see, usually what it will happen while creating any new project, they will set up some kind of user profiles, okay, whether developer profile, tester profile, support profile, okay, on which team you are joining. Whether if you are support profile, directly they will replicate those user ID details. Already they will ask for replication, right? Suppose if you are joining, okay, just map according to this user ID. Once you join to the team, you supposed to give the some sample user ID, right, who is already existing. Based upon that, just simply they will replicate all the accesses to that user. Same thing only here.
Okay. No, I was thinking like at a server level. So yeah.
No.
So I got it.
It's a file level.
Okay.
Server level is like your edge node details.
Got it. Yeah.
Clear read request. See, read and write, just you need to understand as a developer, okay, not required to go more inside in this, okay. Just why? Because you need to know the concept. That's what I explained in a detailed manner, okay. Clear? If you guys are clear, then we will go for an architecture. Clear, right? Okay. Now I think Manoj, you will get answer on this one, okay. Here, see, this is my Hadoop architecture, okay. This is my Hadoop architecture 1.x. That is mean by 1.0. Let me see the previous one, I mean to say, okay. This is my 1.x. So far we have discussed about, see here, map reduce. mapper page and reducer page and task tracker. Okay, TT, task trackers. Okay, and job tracker here. Okay, then client. Okay, just imagine. Okay, this client is nothing but the one which you are running from our edge node. It will go to the job tracker. Who is this job tracker will maintain? Name node. Okay, in the name node, job tracker will be taken care. Then job tracker will communicate to the task trackers. Where task trackers will be there? Within the data nodes, right? In the data nodes, while retrieving the data from the data nodes, mappers and reducers will be coming into picture. This is nothing but mapper. That is nothing but MR, map reduce programs. That I will explain later. Okay, map reduce. Okay, this information will be collected to the job tracker, then it will come to the client. Okay, this is Hadoop 1.x operation, 1.x architecture. Okay, in the Hadoop, but there is a more complexity involved here. Everything need to be taken care by the job tracker. Okay, multiple nodes will be there, number of used data nodes will be there, but we are having only one job tracker. It is a very overburden to the job tracker to maintain all this stuff, so that we are having some kind of inconsistency in the 1.x. That means while running the jobs, until completion of some jobs, some other job will be in a queue, or some jobs will be failed because of the load balancing, all those stuff. This is not that much efficient, okay, in a Hadoop environment. Because of that, they have what they have done is they have migrated from this to Yarn architecture. Okay, this is nothing but Yarn is nothing but a yet another resource negotiator. What is meant by Yarn is yet, the first letter, yet another resource negotiator. This simply we are calling as Yarn. Okay, yet another resource negotiator. What happens, in the Yarn client, okay, in the Yarn architecture, on top of Hadoop we are having a Yarn just to maintain the resource utilization. Resources are nothing but available resources, CPU, processing, memory, everything and all, and job scheduling as well. Okay, that means which job has to be run on what time, what is the priority need to be given, whether it is a PPO or LIPO or capacity management. There are some kind of, whether it is a phase scheduler, there are couple of schedulers. I will explain later. FIFO is nothing but first in first out. Whenever who submitted the first, that will complete first. Then LIPO, last in first out. Then capacity management, capacity scheduler, phase scheduler. Okay, there are different schedulers which is available in the Yarn architecture. That is nothing but just to maintain the resource in a very efficient manner. They came up with the Yarn architecture on top of Hadoop. This one, okay. Don't forget about this is not another architecture. You are having already Hadoop. On top of Hadoop, we are having a Yarn architecture. Yarn is nothing but resource capacity management. Okay, that resources, whatever the jobs are there, scheduling, how to allocate the jobs, what is the priority about the job, which task I need to run first, all those resource allocation will be handled by the Yarn client. Okay, this Yarn, see, from the client, once you get the request here, instead of job tracker, they introduce RM, resource manager. This resource manager will taken care about. This resource manager are something nothing but in a name node only, but in a different manner. Okay, resource manager on top of your name node, we are having a Yarn architecture, right? Yarn also it will come as a inbuilt. I mean, once you install the Yarn client, resource manager will taken care about all your name node activities. That is nothing but scheduling about your job, getting the data from the data node, reading the data, putting the data, everything will be taken care by the resource manager. How it is going to be happen? See here, just imagine resource manager is there, then node manager. Node manager is nothing but each and every node. The way how task tracker is there, the replacement of task tracker is nothing but node manager. Okay, inside the node manager, the way how map and reduce are there, right? We are having app master. That is nothing but application master, AM, RM, NM, AM. Okay, this has been replaced. Entire Hadoop resource management has been replaced by the Yarn client. This Yarn client nowadays it is more accurate, and resource management is handle very efficiently. That means in a very well manner. There is no wastage of resources in the yarn architecture. And let's go to the other diagram, how yarn is gonna work. Okay, where is my another paint? How yarn is gonna work very efficiently. Okay, this is how. See here, the first, client submit an application, nothing but your job. Okay, whatever the job which you are gonna submit is nothing but your client. From the edge node you have submitted something. First it will go to the resource manager on top of your name node. Okay, see here, client submit an application. The first step, the resource manager allocate a container to start the application manager. See here, where is my application manager reside? In the every name node. Okay, in the every data node, sorry, in the every name node. First it will contact the application manager. Application manager will allocate the container will having in a data node. Okay, in the data node, each data node will contain a container. That container will allocate by the application manager. The application manager register itself with the resource manager, saying about that, boss, I have allocated some containers for your task and these are the containers, please register. So it will register in the resource manager. The application manager negotiates containers from the resource manager, saying about that, application manager, let's say it has been given some 4 or 5 containers is available. Then this resource manager will calculate the task. Okay, this is my input file size. These containers I may not sufficient to execute my task, give some more container. Or if application manager give more container, if your task is less, then resource manager will say that for this task I may not need this many containers. Okay, so take back your containers, I need only 1 or 2 containers and I will go and execute the containers. Like that it will do the negotiation. That means resource negotiation will be happen between application manager and resource manager. Okay, then the application manager notifies the node manager to launch the containers. Once it has been negotiation has been done, then it will ask the node manager. Node manager, see here in this one, node manager will take the what we can say, alerts from the resource manager. Okay, then it will execute the jobs. Actually, see, application node is executed in the container. Client contacts resource manager or application manager to monitor the application status. Application is nothing but your job. Okay, once the processing is completed, the application manager unregister with the resource manager. That means the entire task is been done. Then the containers will be released again. That means resources. The resources whatever is available. See here, resources is nothing but number of cores, number of CPU, number of processors. Okay, number of JVM process, all those things. So the core concept we will come to later. Once we start executing Hive and all, you will get to know how many cores, what is the CPU, what is the driver memory, all those will come into picture. Okay, this is how the yarn architecture negotiate very efficiently. But in the previous Hadoop 1.x, based upon your data file size and all, it will give the block information. Inside the block, only name node, the task tracker will execute. Let's imagine I am having 4 input files. Some different users are executing same input file names. Okay, and they are reading. Okay, sequence. I mean, parallelly. If you mean, see, edge node is nothing but it will be given to all developers. Okay, let's say same input file if the developers are executing. Okay, that means if they want to read the data in the Hadoop 1.x, what will happen? That block information will be same, right? So task trackers, only one task tracker will be available in that. Okay, all task trackers will be in the queue until, let's say, developer 1 submitted the job. Until developer 1's job completes, job will not come into picture. They will be in the queue. So like that, the load balancing and resource also misutilized. Okay, it will wait till, though I am having, let's say, I am having other nodes, other data nodes, tasks available, but I'm unutilizing those tasks. Okay, I am waiting simply. Okay, so to avoid all those things, this yet another resource negotiator came into picture. Wherever the resources available, wherever the JVM, go take the data and give to us. Like that, this capacity management came into picture. Nowadays, everyone using this yarn client only. See, this yarn supposed to install on top of your Hadoop client. Okay, but in the Cloudera, it will come as a package. Don't worry. This is the process. It is gonna happen. Yarn. People are using Yarn client only for scheduling process, especially in the MapReduce process. Job tracker, task tracker, MapReduce, all MR map and task, all those things has been replaced by the Yarn, saying about resource manager, application manager. This is about your AN client. Yep. And this is previously we are using like this. This one, right? This one. Task trackers and all will be there. This has been replaced by the resource manager, node manager, application manager. Once you install the Cloudera software, there I can be able to show you. Okay. Once in the web UI, you can go resource manager, application manager, and all will be there. How the resources has been negotiated, that we can see in the real time. I will show you all your job statuses, whether the job is failed, whether the job is running, where it got struck, everything will be monitored by the resource manager. That means in the resource manager tab only you can able to see your jobs. Once you submitted your job, that is nothing but once you have done it, okay, all your jobs in the Hive, suppose let's say you have submitted one query, that will be monitored by you by using resource manager tab only. That I will show you once you install the software. Clear? Any doubts on and perspective? Guys, am I audible?
Yes, Srini.
Yes, Srini.
Local files, money is asking something, sir. Doubt in local file system should have some storage, more storage. Yeah, local file system is nothing but see, money. You need to just imagine the concept. Okay, input file from where we are gonna get it from the server. Okay, what it will do, local file system will act as an intermediate layer while copying. See, if you are directly in the real time, usually from the servers we are gonna get the data, not directly to the local file system. Okay, once I execute the real-time commands, right, I will explain this concept. Local file system, we need to have the storage, but the local file system is not like a kind of the thing. Okay, in the Hadoop environment itself we are having local file system, right? LFS and HFS, there is a different concept. I will explain while executing the commands. Okay, Mani. Yes, Anjan. Any doubts, anyone? Romy, getting the things?
Yes, sir. I was wondering, you gonna upload this video
Yeah.
so I can go back and
I will do that. I will do that. You know, once I have started this recording, it will take time, 2 hours or 3 hours. Then only a video will be available in a different format.
so
I have to convert back to the normal MP3 or MP4 format. Then I will upload it. Even previous class also, I am gonna upload it. Don't worry.
oh, will it be on Google Drive, right? Or
Yes, we are yet to
and you will.
Google. We are yet to create the account. Okay, just give
Oh, okay,
time.
okay.
Only
All
by
right.
Monday you will get all the documents, whatever these figures which I am showing. Right, everything will be available for your knowledge.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Tarun, getting the things?
Yes, Rene. So far, everything is clear.
Okay. Okay, work out on that software issue. Okay, it will be resolved. Okay, just follow the.
Sure, I'll do that.
Yeah. Anwarji.
Yeah, Srini, I'm good till now.
Okay. Guys, over the weekend, please, it's my sincere request, try to install the software. Okay, Monday I will show the commands, how to execute the command, how to use that software. Okay, by using Linux file system, where to open, okay, how to execute the command, what is LFS, what is HDFS, where to see our file system, what are the utilities, what is web UI, where can I see the files, how to copy. Okay, there are some multiple commands available, administrator commands, what is safe mode. Once you go to the safe mode, whether we can able to execute the commands or not, all those stuff I am gonna show on Monday. And some more topics are pending. Okay, that also I will be covering. That MapReduce part is pending. How MapReduce program is going to be. I'm not gonna write any program here. Just I will show how it is going to be execute. What is the driver map? What is the mapper? What is the reducer? What is short answer field? What is combiner? What is practitioner? All those stuff with the example I'm gonna show it to you. This MapReduce program and all we will execute once we start the Spark programming. At the time I will show you the MapReduce program also, 1 or 2 MapReduce program, how much lines of code. We will take only one input file, we'll execute by using MapReduce as well as the Spark. Okay, how much code is required to write MapReduce, how much code is required to Spark, what is the processing time, why Spark is more efficient than the MapReduce, those things and all will be covered as part of Spark processing. I will show you. See, we are using Spark only, not MapReduce. But I will show you 1 or 2 programs in the MapReduce also. Once we install the and guys, one more thing, please try to install IntelliJ IDEA in your local machine. Whatever the software which you are, wherever you are installing your VM and Cloudera, right? On the same laptop in a Windows, please install IntelliJ IDEA. IntelliJ IDEA, I will give you that software installation requirement also. Okay, later part, not now. Okay, now we are into Hadoop, then Hive will come, then Scoop, then Scala. By that time you can install IntelliJ IDEA also. Why? Because while starting Scala we need that one. So we will execute execute in IntelliJ IDEA. We will build the jar file creation, everything will be handled by the IntelliJ IDEA or Eclipse. But most of the people are preferring IntelliJ. So please try to install that IntelliJ. It's not gonna take much time, just 5 to 10 minutes we are gonna install that.